Okay, so I want to do a demonstration of the Autopilot. We'll just take a look here. It says I have Autopilot. This is not FSD. We are in Collingwood and it is Saturday, March 6, 2021. So we're going to drive into Collingwood. And I picked this road for a reason because it's got these nice bends up here. So I am currently in Autopilot and the car is steering. Now the road is limited to 40 here, I didn't know that. Anyway, car steering, my hands are off the wheel and we got a bend coming up here. The drivers are gonna think I'm a slow driver today, that's alright. Probably wondering why there's a slow Tesla on the road. Anyway, the car handles it. It's keeping the speed for me. Okay, I guess up to 60 up here. And once again, the car's doing all the steering. It's doing the controlling the speed and keeping me on the road. So hopefully when we hit the 60 here, we'll go to 70 kilometers an hour. And what's interesting is the roads are kind of dirty and the car can still see the lines or knows where the lines are. This particular spot is not so bad, but I was on another road that it was snow covered or partially snow covered, and the car can still see the lines. Now, our software version does not respond to traffic signals or traffic lights or stop signs, but it will respond to other cars. So if there's another car in front of me, it will slow down and come to a stop and then accelerate again. So we're going to come into Collingwood in a second here, and when we go through the main part of town, there's a bunch of traffic lights there, and it'll be interesting to see the car, how it responds to being in the traffic. But so I picked this route for a couple of reasons. One is it has several bends on it. I picked today because it's the 2 days before we come out of gray zone and go into red, and the town's still pretty busy. Once again, the car's doing that, not me. Okay, so there's a traffic light coming up here, and it's turning amber, and there's no one in front of me, so I'm gonna have to take over the car and stop the car. For those of you who are not familiar with Teslas, they have regenerative braking, and basically that means that the car uses the motors to slow the car down, so the brakes are hardly used. Okay, so when that symbol comes up, we can go back into FNR. Didn't like the road lines there. All right, there we go. So we're back into Autopilot. Again, this is not FSD or full self-driving. I find this kind of interesting, so hopefully you can see it in the camera, but the road lines are not really that great, and yet the car still knows where they are. I'm getting my nag here to put my hands on the wheel. The other thing, if you didn't notice that, is it reads traffic speed limit signs or speed limit signs. Yeah, so okay, I took over there because I can't even see the lines. I wasn't too sure if the car was going to see them, and there was a truck coming, so I wasn't going to risk crashing into a truck. And I also have to take over here because there's no one in front of me, and the car would just go through the red light. The lines are so hard to see, I don't know how the car's seeing them. Okay, so the car is going to come to a stop behind this truck in front of me. So the car's still steering and controlling the speed of the car, and I am going to adjust my car lengths to 6, just make it a little bit more comfortable for me. So when that Ford in front of me moves, my car will go with it, as you can see it's doing now. And you see we're going across this intersection. There's no lines there, so the car is obviously doing guesswork, and I can barely see the lines on the right, so somehow the car is seeing them. But anyway, so it must be inferring where it thinks the lines are, especially when it goes across cross sections or intersections. You see those blue lines there. Speed up a little bit. It's indicating where it thinks the lines are. And you see it carries those blue lines across the intersections. So again, I'm not steering, the car is steering. Basically when that blue steering wheel is lit up there, again, this car in front of me is stopped. My car is going to come down and slow down and match its speed. So it didn't come to a complete stop because that car was already going, but it slowed down so we didn't crash into it, which is obviously a good thing. And that car is doing a U-turn. That's cool. So we're now going to go and pick up this. Now, I've had people, you know, when they've asked me about the Autopilot, if they don't come from a Tesla, they'll say things like, oh, I've got lane keep assist in my Honda, or I've got adaptive cruise control. That felt a little close, so I'm taking over. They got adaptive cruise control in their Honda. So our other vehicle is a Honda Passport, and we have adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist, and they are they're not similar to what Tesla's doing here with the Autopilot. For example, the Honda Passport cannot come to a complete stop on its own. So if I was in adaptive cruise control and the vehicle in front of me came to a stop, the Passport, if I did not intervene, would crash into the car. Okay, there's a nice bend coming up here. Again, the car's steering. I just find this really quite amazing. And even more so that the lines really are not that easy to see. But the car's figuring it out. Like, it knows where it needs to be on the road. So, yeah. So they're not really similar, except the fact that they might have similar features, but the quality is not the same. Not at all. It's and we've had the Autopilot for as long as we've had the car, which is almost 2 years now. And you know, like other manufacturers, like traditional Honda, Toyota, Ford, etc., they're not really close in doing the same thing. Again, the car's still steering. I really do find this quite incredible because I can hardly see the lines, but I don't exactly know how Tesla's doing it, but they are. Now, the other thing too, I don't know why Tesla gives us this driver visualization. I mean, it's cool to look at, but really, I should not be looking at that while I'm driving the car. You know, like it's. But I think they do that to show us that the car really is aware of its surroundings. Now, for those of you, again, who are not familiar with Tesla, Tesla has, I believe it's 8 cameras. There's 3 up here looking out. Got that right, hopefully. There's 2 just under the side mirrors looking back. Those are these ones. And then there's 2 on the pillars. Okay, so I'm gonna have to take over here because the car is gonna want to go straight and I gotta turn, so I had to take over. So the car would have just gone straight there or got confused, and I don't want to find out what it does when it gets confused. So I took over. Yeah, so there's 3 there, 3 under the mirrors. There's 2 on the pillars between the front door and the passenger door. And then there's 1 in the back. Now something, I believe it's the Volkswagen ID4 that they're coming out with that I really liked, that I wish Tesla would have done, is they've put a camera on the bumper, near the front bumper, near the license plate, which I thought was kind of a cool thing, because sometimes when, you know, you're driving up to a curb and you don't exactly know if you're gonna hit the curb or not, if you want to drive in really close to a garage, that'd be kind of nice to see that. So Elon Musk, if you're listening, that'd be a cool feature.